Esme? Esme, wake up. Yes, I know it's late, but it is of the utmost importance. No, the castle's not on fire, and there hasn't been a coup. Yet. You don't have to get up, just listen. She just left. Yes, just now. She did impose terribly. Well, what didn't she do would be the more accurate question. She spoke when I tried to be silent, and was silent for so long after I finished talking, it felt so stifling. No, not like a conversation. It felt like we were playing 3 chess matches all at once. You're right. I need to tell you all about it in the right order. Let's start at the beginning. You left right after you dressed me and braided my hair, and she knocked right after the evening bells. I can't have been waiting more than 5 minutes, but it felt like hours. It was an imposition, receiving her in my own chambers so late. I would have liked to read, but I couldn't focus on anything. Just kept pacing the room, looking for the first signs of sunset. And still I was startled when she knocked on the door. And then she just let herself in. She smiled that damn smirk at me, her eyes soft and her mouth cruel. She was wearing that terrible green silk dress that whispers against the floors when she walks. Her corset was way too tight, and her hair was too loose, so nothing new there. She looked exactly as she did usually, and yet there was something different about her. Maybe the light, the orange and pink hues of the sunset reflecting on her face and hair, perfect canvas for the colours of the evening. Maybe it's because we were all alone for the very first time. No kings, no soldiers, no courtiers, no servants. No offence, Esme. I would have preferred you to be there. But I made her look smaller, more, I don't know, human. She looked at me for a long time, appraising me like a prized cow in the market, or an interesting jewel. And then she walked right into the middle of the room, looking everywhere as if she owned the place. Which, as the Queen, I suppose she technically does. She looked at the books on the shelves, the tapestry with the crowning of the conquering king, the bed. Her eyes lingered there. I know she meant to make me nervous, the way she does with all the council members. But I've decided not to give her the pleasure. I stared right back at her. You would have been proud of me, Esme. I didn't look down or away. I stared at the back of her head, the waves in her hair, the way it slid against the back of her dress. I'd never realised how much skin it reveals until I could see it. All pale, and it looked smooth. But I could see the scars on her back. I had heard the rumours about her people, but seeing it felt different. How can one look so soft and delicate, and yet bear the marks of unimaginable cruelty? And that cruelty disguised as a ritual. She turned back, smirking, as if she'd caught me doing something forbidden. I must admit, her gaze was so convincing that I froze for a moment, though I knew I hadn't done anything wrong. She has this ability to turn things around with her conniving eyes. I'll never tell anyone this but you, Esme. She keeps seeing right through my plans and making them crumble. She has ruin in her blood. She did the same with chess. She walked herself over to the chess table, sat in my usual seat, and then, foregoing her usual regal posture, slouched there as if she were in her very own chambers. She looked down at the board and then turned it around, offering me the white pieces. I arched an eyebrow at her and told her she was squandering the limited resources of my hospitality, and she laughed, a short, shrill sound as she slowly blinked at me. She didn't move a muscle, but she watched me as I stood there contemplating all my choices. I did sit, but I stared at her all the while, and you'll never guess what she had to say to that. She said things had been too quiet lately and she was aching for a challenge. I don't know what emotion showed on my face as I heard that, but it felt like I'd been thrown from my horse and slammed down on the ground. The war was awful, Esme, as you well know. The fear, the uncertainty, the scream of the wounded at night, the eerie silence of the dead in the early hours of the morning, no rest, just fear about what would come. Always having to appear strong and self-assured in front of the generals, and there she was, talking about it as if it were a mere joust. She looked away, trying to run away from her cruelty, reflected in my shocked face. Her lips pressed in a thin line, eyes lost in the colours of the sunset. She seemed to contemplate the sky for a long time, silent, before shaking her head as if chasing away the ghosts of the countless numbers we sent to their deaths. She turned back to the board and gestured to it, and she apologised. It was the first time I'd heard her apologise. Ever. Even when she surrendered or she was paraded at my brother's victory celebration, she never once apologised. But she did for me. She said she was sorry, and that her people don't see war the way we do. I said nothing, because I didn't forgive her, though I did nod to acknowledge it. She smiled at that, and looked down at the board, where I had just pushed the first pawn forward. She contemplated the board, and I must say, my hands, for way longer than necessary. Then she made her move, mirroring mine. You're good, Esme, and our games are unmatched, but playing against her felt like being put through the ringer. She never let me protect or retreat. Every time I castled my king, she laughed, a strange mix between delight and cruelty, and she attacked another piece, one that I could defend easily if I broke the king's castle position. She would always look up at me in silence, with that damn tilt of her head, as if she could never quite make out what I was thinking about, what I was planning. Well, I felt strange, I imagine. Felt like an animal. Just realised it's rare. I know. I'm considered strange enough at court, or anywhere I go really, but she made me feel another kind of strange, a deeper kind of strange, but one where I might not be entirely alone. But that's not the point, Esme. The point is she back-ranked me. She pretended to launch her own queen in a risky attack, which is odd for such a skilled player, but too good an opportunity to pass up. I moved, and before I realised, she had made me trap my king behind my own army, and then she darted out like a snake and had me in checkmate. She had the gall to laugh when my face fell. I was sitting there, dumbfounded, stunned, flabbergasted. I could not have seen it coming. She had protected her queen jealously all through the game, only to taunt me with the possibility of having her. She plays like a bear trap. Voice. Admiration? Esme, no. There is no admiration in my voice. I'm appalled. She plays treacherously, and I think she revealed what she really is to me. She wanted to beat me so bad, she was ready to risk it all. Why didn't I move to get her queen? Well, I couldn't really. The board wouldn't allow it, but that's not important right now. There was more to it. I was staring at her, a little vexed, when I realised that the colours on her skin had grown darker, and her eyes paler in the shimmering light of the stars. I looked out the window and was genuinely surprised at seeing the moon already high in the sky. It was only a crescent of pale light, but it turned her into a soft, ethereal creature. Do you remember, during the war, the men always said her people were fae, or ghosts? As soon as night fell, everyone retreated, because they never knew where they would spring from. I can see why now. Esme, I don't understand what's happening to me when she's here. You know how I'm always resolute? Some might say stubborn. A lot say stubborn. But I keep changing my mind in her presence. Now, here I am. Sometimes I think she's repulsive, a snake. Sometimes she's genius. Sometimes this living sliver of moonlight. I pride myself on being a good judge of character. I have to be, in order to progress as far into the council as I have, where no other princess has been seated. And yet, she remains a complete mystery to me. Here's the important part of the evening, however, the reason I had to wake you. She surprised me again by smirking at me, but this time it felt softer. She sat back, getting comfortable in my chair, her strange myrrh perfume following her, pulling away in a way that made me lean forward. She stared at me, not letting go of my eyes, and declared suddenly that there was to be a hunt in the king's forest. Yes, a hunt. She said the heads of the different houses had been invited to a deer hunt for the full moon. I frowned and asked her what she meant. We have never held blood sports as entertainment, especially after a war. It's in poor taste. She smiled again, of course, and said something about uniting the houses and showing the king's strength. She spoke as if she were in charge of the king's affairs now. Yes, I did ask why it hadn't been consulted, and she had the gall to tell me it had been decided rather late and had to be organised in a hurry so it could be held under a full moon. In merely a week. Well, I asked her if she'd gone mad. She only chuckled at me, as if my concerns were not entirely valid. She shrugged and said the hunt is a perfect exercise in trust and building bonds. I don't know what bonds she was talking about, because the houses fought for us. So I would imagine our bonds are strong enough. Esme, why are you looking at me like this? No, don't laugh. I can see you're trying to hide behind your hand. Yes, that's exactly what I told her, in those very words. And would you believe it, she had the same reaction. She looked away and bit her lower lip, clearly trying to hide a smirk. I don't understand. What's so funny about a political alliance with the houses? Or power? Well, she was very cryptic. She shook her head and stood up, smoothing her robe, ready to leave after imposing on me for hours, probably. I did have a sinking feeling, as if my heart were in the pit of my stomach. Must have been relief, or fatigue. She rolled her shoulders and sighed a little and walked by my armchair, only stopping when she had almost passed me. I couldn't see her unless I craned my neck and twisted into an uncomfortable position. I must say, she must enjoy making me uncomfortable, because she pressed her advantage mercilessly. She put her hand on the back of the armchair, and I could feel the tip of her fingers just where the collar of my dress ended. So terribly cold on my warm skin. Gave me goosebumps. I knew she could feel my skin, but she didn't move her hand. She looked down at me, looking very much like a fae, her hair cascading down, whispering against my shoulder. As she spoke in a low, almost conspiring voice, she said she would tell me the story of what her people call the wild hunt, if I came to the king's hunt under a full moon. She said I would not regret it, and that she looked forward to sinking her teeth into a lively doe. Yes, Esme, I know what you're going to say. I need my riding boots mended before the full moon.